Aloha. I'm Congresswoman Tulsi Gabard. As a veteran of 2 Middle East deployments, I know firsthand the cost of war. I know how important it is that our Commander-in-Chief has the sound judgment required to know when to use America's military power and when not to use that power. As a Vice Chair of the DNC, I'm required to stay neutral in Democratic primaries, but I cannot remain neutral any longer. The stakes are just too high. That's why today I'm endorsing Senator Bernie Sanders to be our next President and Commander-in-Chief of the United States. We need a Commander-in-Chief who has foresight, who exercises good judgment, and who understands the need for a robust foreign policy which defends the safety and security of the American people, and who will not waste precious lives and money on interventionist wars of regime change. Such counterproductive wars undermine our national security and economic prosperity. As these elections continue across the country, the American people are faced with a very clear choice. We can elect a president who will lead us into more interventionist wars of regime change, or we can elect a president who will usher in a new era of peace and prosperity. It's with this clear choice in mind that I'm resigning as Vice Chair of the DNC so that I can strongly support Bernie Sanders as the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. And now I ask you, stand with me and support Bernie Sanders.
Okay. I'll do that. No problem, Tulsi. Thank you. Thank you for having the courage to do what you just did. Good morning, everybody. It's February 29th. We've got Super Tuesday happening tomorrow. We've got a good show today to talk about yesterday and a whole bunch of stuff. We've got Sean Porter with us in the production room here. How's it going, Sean? Say hi to everybody. I'm good. Everybody, I've had to do some messing around with the audio and stuff, so let me know if one of us is out of sync. I have a feeling one of us is going to be out of sync today. Hey everybody, Ray and Hannah and Steph and Hey Hun and Robin Morris. John Whitkus, good to see you back. I'm glad I didn't scare you away yesterday. We're going to talk about the whole show and comments and violence and what Bernie had to say on Colbert, and Sean Porter's here to help me talk about that stuff and offer a different opinion on things, or just a balancing of opinion, I should say, because I am definitely incongruent myself. Let's put it that way. I'm gonna take a quick departure on what my actual topics are today. We're gonna talk about breaking news. We're gonna talk about justice for Flint. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff. But I wanna take a step back and talk about a guy named I want to say Joshua Abraham Heschel, but it could be Abraham. That's Joshua Abraham Heschel. Yeah, he was a rabbi. All right, he's actually a rabbi that's referenced by a lot of people because he was a pretty big known guy and said a lot of amazing things. But I actually went to he wrote a book, had something to do with gods and prophets, and I can't remember the title of the book. Right, but he wrote a book. The bottom line was I actually went to this speaking event by a Catholic priest about this rabbi. The whole point was just to understand a more open-minded view of the Jewish religion, of who this guy was, of what he had to say. But what the point of the talk was more about the incongruency, the conflict that prophets had to sit with. Defining prophets as like Muhammad, prophets as like, if we just call Jesus a prophet for now, we're just going to call like people like that who sit with these incongruencies. They recognize how things should be. They understand what needs to happen to get there, but it conflicts. It conflicts with their being. There's a conflict of being. Like they sit in these opposing views and just go, I don't know. I'm just going to sit here and marinate in these. And that's what I do every day, before a show and after a show, and with you guys. Hi, John Lewis. And the reason I'm going off about all this stuff, okay, is because we are all faced with that same choice right now. Yesterday, I said a lot of really, really extreme, harsh, radical things. All right. We're going to talk about those things because my goal really was to drive passion, was to drive people to go, "Whoa, man," and it worked. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But my point is that we are all in conflict right now because what's going on in our world, what's going on with our government, is causing us to go, "This isn't right. There's an illogic here, and it's happening all around us, and we need to figure out how to address it." Censorship. We are watching censorship occur on the web, but we can't do anything about it. And that's really what I was angry about yesterday is what do we do? How do we fight back against digital censorship? What do we do? Right? Sitting on a bridge isn't going to help. Walking down the street isn't going to help. Holding up a picket sign isn't going to help. I'm not saying that these things don't help the movement. Of course they do. But they don't do jack shit for the digital realm. How do we fight the digital war? That's what I want to know. Occupy, Anonymous, that's why I call on you to help me figure out how to hijack a primetime network stream, because I personally think that is a beautiful act of civil disobedience. And we're going to talk about what civil is defined as in a minute. But let's talk about what really matters, okay? Where did it go? Where did it go? A couple things, but the big one that I want everybody to know about, the title of the title on the card was Justice for Flint, which I wasn't even aware was going on. So I'm really sad. Sean, were you aware that Justice Flint was happening before yesterday? All right. Those of you in the audience, anybody else hear about it? And I'm reading some comments here. Jill Stein should come out for Bernie. Yeah, probably. She's waiting. She's waiting to see. She's waiting to see you. She's playing the game there. I really think I've seen that hashtag. Please don't say fight. Why? I don't understand. I am fighting for freedom. Fighting what? I don't understand why we have a problem with the word fight, folks. Are we that afraid? This is a revolution. Even in passive resistance, you fight. I don't understand why there's this resist. No, I'm not resisting. Resist implies this, defense. I'm resisting you. No, I am pushing back. That's a fight. I'm not resisting anymore, okay? A resistance means we're resisting the establishment. I resist you. Fuck that. I am fighting the establishment. I may not be fighting them with my fist, okay? Because fighting them with my fist does no good when I'm fighting a giant machine. But let's use the words that we mean. I mean fight. I want to fight for this country. I want to fight for democracy. I want to fight to save them both. Please don't tell me not to use words. We need. Sean has no volume. Oh shit. Sean, my bad. Say hi to everybody.
Hey, I'm still here.
That's what I get for using. That's what I get for using the wrong audio thing. I told you audio was weird. Now maybe we'll be able to tell if Sean is actually in sync or out of sync, folks.
Okay. Well, I hadn't said anything too important yet, so it's good. No worries.
All right, there we go. I'm sorry, guys. Let's thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know about that. And that's it. We are on the offense. I just want to say that this is we're going to talk about that. What passive resistance means. We're going to talk about what civil disobedience means, and that it's time to wake up. The government, your government and your media, the establishment media have been telling you, calm down, stay calm. Everybody stay calm. Let's go watch this video. Let's go watch the Osmond family Christmas. Stay calm. All right? Fuck staying calm. Okay? Staying calm does not imply lack of love. Okay, I want to make sure everybody understands that by saying we're going to fight, that does not change the fact that this is about a love train. Okay, you can love the people and fight for your country. I can love the people, but I will fight the cop that tries to arrest me for any civil disobedience I do. Okay, I will fight back because that's my right. That's my right. right? I'm not going to lay down and let some guy with a badge and a gun put handcuffs on me. No, I will not. When it comes time to it, and we might as well just go here. Everything I said yesterday, there was a lot of people that were upset about what I said. There was a lot of people that said I needed to just delete the video. There was a lot of other people that said some very great comments, and I want to talk about that. We had a very lot of varying comments. All right. This was from Blue Venus. John, your broadcast today has been one of the most inspiring, passionate, and feet to the fire videos I've seen in a long time. Thank you. I'm also extremely scared, not only about where our country is headed, but the entire world. Now, that's one of many that said similar things. I was actually expecting quite a different reaction from yesterday's. I spent a lot of time marinating in my own statements from yesterday, but I meant every single one of them. And I made sure of that over and over again. Yep. I don't say shit I don't mean. I meant that shit. So let's talk about that, because John Whitgus said, hey, listen to what Bernie has to say, which I always want to listen to what Bernie has to say. And he sent me a link. He said, you should really get rid of that video, unlist it. Right? I thought about that. I thought about unlisting it. I've thought about that with a couple videos where I just went insane. I'm like, yeah, maybe we'll do that. But it's on record. I want the record to be there that I was angry, that I was that psycho insane angry at the government, at what's going on. All right. Because somebody's got to see that. Somebody's got to go, wow, that's wholly inappropriate anger. You bet it is. I want everybody to turn that around. Hey, my government just carpet bombed Cambodia, killed 100,000 civilians. Wow, that seems wholly inappropriate. I want you to turn it around on the government. Every time you think, geez, I'm being a little, this is disobedient. I shouldn't be doing this. The government's going to have a problem. That's going to freak out some people. That's going to make people uncomfortable. I want you to think about what our government does every fucking day to us, to the people. Bernie Sanders' movement is about changing that government, is about bringing everybody together. That has to mesh with the fact we are not going to bring the establishment down by hugging them. The establishment builds weapons of war for a living. The establishment sells F-15s to Saudi Arabia to bomb children. The establishment puts chemicals in our food because it makes money. The establishment is not looking out for our best interest. Our government is not a good government right now. I am fighting against an oligarchy. I am fighting against a gross abuse of power. And the love that we feel with Bernie and the love that we feel together stays. But when I turn around to look at the establishment, I will greet them with my anger. I will greet them with the truth. I will greet them with truth to power. And if need be, I will greet them with force, because this is not a resistance. This is an offensive to take back my country, hopefully with the election process. But as we are starting to see, folks, you don't have censorship. You don't have censorship, blatant censorship in the digital era happening. A blackout in media on the candidate the people want. Think back, people. Think back at what has been done, about the freedom of speech we hold so dear, and what the media has done to that freedom of speech. If that does not piss you off, then you are absolutely naive and ignorant of what has been removed from your rights. You don't get it. And that is why I will fight. That is why I will use force if necessary. That's why John Whitgus, what Bernie said in the video with Colbert said, well, you know what John F. Kennedy said, blah, 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 revolutionary. And I don't even know what the quote is, something about fighting, the reality of what happens. And Bernie said, you know what? I hope not. I hope not. The last thing he had to say wasn't, well, I'm certainly not going to condone violence. He said, I hope not. Because he knows Bernie's not a dumbass. Bernie knows that while we are going to do our best to do this with love and peace and kindness and the election process, when it comes down to it, We may end up in handcuffs. I may end up in jail. We all have to be willing to make those choices, to cross over that uncomfortable line in order to do what we need to do to take this country back. That is what I advocate. That is what yesterday was about. Personally, for me, I see no problem with hauling a CEO out of his office onto the street to listen to the people tell them I'm just saying it's time to be uncomfortable, to feel uncomfortable, to be mad. And I want to do something digitally. I want to be on the offensive digitally. That's what this was created. That's why we're on channel number 5. I'm still waiting for the lawyer that wants to pick up this case. Still waiting for the lawyer that recognizes that we've been shut down twice now for terms of service for Section H with no explanation. We've been shut down twice for copyright infringement. One of those is actually a First Amendment case, as explained to me by the EFF, and I still don't have a lawyer. You know, I've had my content, our content censored. We've been censored. Bernie has been censored. It's horrific. So how do we fight that? That's my question. How do we fight that? How do we fight that, guys? Audio is messed up still? Audio is lagging. Okay. So audio is lagging.
I'd say another.
Sean, what do you have to say about that?
Another part of it would be, you know, tying it into the Apple FBI case would be the fact that, you know, we're pushing, you know, this country was created and founded on the idea that we're going to go against, you know, what would otherwise be considered intentions and go against a oppressive, you know, government. And it's almost our duty as people to stand up when we need to stand up against that government. You know, we have all this TV and we have dramas, we've got Walking Dead, we've got sports. Really all this does is help people pay less attention to the things that matter. And if the whole point or the whole basis of our freedom is our ability to stand up when we see we're being wronged as people against the government, well, and you're sitting there talking about how, you know, how do we continue this on in the digital realm on the internet? Well, this is just one other way that the government is trying to impede on our rights, is through this idea that, okay, even though we went into an official agreement with someone, we're going to be able to go in there and do what we want when we want. And, you know, they want a backdoor there because they want to be able to find out what you're doing and where you are, John. When push comes to shove and we're out there in the streets, they're going to want to know where all of us are, and we're going to be communicating digitally. And so it's not to say that that's actually going to happen, but that's the, and I hate to use this term, but the slippery slope that the government has already proven that they'll take advantage of when we start letting those freedoms go, which we already have with the Patriot Act and so on and so forth. It's just another step in that direction.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, I agree with you. Patriot Act, the NSA, PRISM. Come on, folks.
Yeah.
Do we remember these things? Anybody remember these things?
No, they don't want you to.
I mean, so first of all, I hope everybody can hear fine. Apparently, we've been having audio issues. Let me know, guys. If Sean was heard, I hear it's much better, but I don't know. Is it better on both of us when it gets to me? Are we still having this stuttering thing going on? Very sorry about that. We sounded like a demon. I have no idea. Sorry, folks. What Sean was saying is absolutely right, though. The media, the news media guys, they don't keep putting these things in your face, right? The media doesn't keep telling you about the methane leak in Aliso Canyon. The media doesn't keep telling you about the fact that Exxon knew 40 years ago that they were killing the planet. The media doesn't keep telling you any of these things, keep telling you about the NSA and PRISM, keep telling you about the fact that all of the Edward Snowden documents that continue to be released show an egregious abuse of power against the people.
And you better believe there's stuff out there we don't know about. There's things they're sitting on, similar to Flint, similar to the gas leak. I mean, there's things they've fucked up and they're not going to tell us. And it takes real investigative journalism to go out and find those things. And that's something that's lacking in this, in this country, because they're all basically essentially bought and paid for. So they're not going to go out and find something incriminating against the people paying their checks.
Well, exactly. Case in point, the 2011 article that where Bloomberg got from the Freedom of Information Act, we found out in 2011. Then in 2008, we gave an additional $7.7 trillion to the banks without letting anybody know. We're just like, here's some more money. Well, whatever. American people will never know. And by the time they do, what are they going to do about it? Right? Freedom of Information Act, around 2011, somebody will pull that up, write an artical, and they'll make a stink out of it, and it'll get buried. It's exactly what happened. Oh, we gave $7.7 trillion. Where did that money come from? Where did that money come from, Sean? I have no idea. Where did the $7.7 trillion come from that we gave to the? Nobody knows. Did anybody ask? Did anybody say, how are we going to pay that back? What's the deal? Nope. Just gone. It's gone. Yeah.
Try and keep it out of sight, out of mind, and that's a common trick. If there's legislation to be passed that they think is going to be, have people up in arms, you wait till Friday afternoon, you wait till the long weekend. I mean, there's things at some point you obviously have to recognize that these are deliberate, planned out things that they do to try and keep our voices silent and not in the know. As long as we're kept in the dark and we have, the Super Bowl on to keep us our attentions, then, they hope things won't get too riled up. Yeah, every now and then they'll try and get behind a grassroots candidate, but we'll push through, the status quo, and everyone will settle down again, because we know that in, off election years, people basically don't show up at all. And the whole point we've been saying over and over again this year is that we need young voter turnout, and we're not seeing it. And it's like, well, what the hell do you have to do to wake people up in this country? I don't know. It almost makes me pessimistic about the whole thing.
It does. It does. It's well. Sorry, I'm reading some of the comments. They're agreeing with you. We're talking about we bailed out Wall Street, then Bill and Hillary made their fortune from it. Exactly. 7.7. So the 7.7 trillion came from Social Security that they want to destroy.
Oh,
right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Apparently, that's what somebody's saying here. I'm just reading your comments, guys, folks. George saw a rerun of 2010 Goldman Sachs Power and Peril show. Everybody should see it. That sounds good. Warren, Warren can. So by the way, somebody else officially announced, Alan Grayson, who hadn't really officially announced for Bernie today. All right, so that just came out. There's endorsements coming all over the place. What we didn't really talk much about what it means, but the Tulsi Gabard announcement is huge. That's ridiculous. If anything says, hey, the DNC is wholly corrupt, it's a person having to quit to go do what they think is right for the Democratic Party, right? And willing to quit.
That just shows you the character of her, where she's willing to give up her job and go out there as saying she's against, the establishment. So essentially, this could ruin her career. I'm sure there's people pulling her aside saying, make sure you know what you're doing, because who knows how this is going to be taken, So
exactly.
It took a lot of courage to come out there and that's what you believed in, and that you were ready to come out and speak up. And I think we'll only see more of that. We've been saying that for a while now, but it continues to happen. People slowly coming out. Now you're seeing people hint at it, even, like the Oscars, for instance.
Right. But here's so I didn't watch the Oscars, and we're going to talk about the reason. The reason I didn't watch the Oscars because I wasn't interested in seeing a bunch of rich white folk hand out awards to a bunch of other rich white folk, which is basically what the Oscars has become. I am sad because I wasn't aware of this. All right. And I wasn't even aware of revolt.tv. So I feel really dumb and naive. But Justice for Flint, this event was going on with some stars. I have a picture. We want to thank these actors and actresses for taking the time, and musicians for taking the time to do something that actually matters. Instead of handing out some gold stupid awards to each other, they actually went somewhere where it matters. And this is what mattered. Justice for Flint. trying to get something done, trying to get the government off its ass. This again, folks, this is when I talk about what do we do here? What action should we take to get the government to realize that if they don't take action soon, we're going to take some more drastic action? That's the question, is action. There's been a lot of talk. Where's the action, right? What's his name? Bernie the other day was asking in the Flint forum, where are the water buffaloes? You know where the water buffaloes are? They're in packages called Nestle water, bottled up from Lake Michigan for free, sold back to fucking government city of Flint. That's what's happening there. That's why there's no water buffaloes that should just suck up the water from Flint, from Lake Michigan, run it through some purifiers and deliver it to the town of Flint, right? Or let's just build a fucking pipe from Lake Michigan straight to Flint and call it good, right? Oh wait, didn't they have one of those already? They had one from the Detroit River, right? And then they diverted it. That was it. I'm sorry, but while Nestle cleans up on free water, they put it in plastic and then give it back to Flint. That's why there's no water buffaloes there, Bernie, because Nestle needed to get in on the action, right? Fuck the Oscars. I agree, Crunch. That should be a hashtag today. We'll see how long it takes Twitter to silence that. You know, it's we laugh at it, Sean, but it's not funny.
Well, it's funny because well, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. No. Well, it's funny just in the fact that I mean, it's almost unbelievable to me. I guess I was still at a point in watching politics where you're still hoping people will wake up and pull the wool off their eyes. And the reason they do all these things, I assume, is because they know that they work. They know that Twitter has an actual pull when it comes to society and what we're talking about, and what the news is even talking about. I mean, now we get to the point where these news shows are talking about what's happening on Twitter, and it's insane. And they're taking that power, of course, and they're going to do their own thing with it, and they're going to follow their own special interests, and that's, you know, disquieting, you know, Hillary, you know, anti-Hillary hashtags, and, you know, suppressing other ones. And you know, I think it's just, it's almost like awe-inspiring that this is, I mean, I've read 1984. We're not there yet, but holy crap, man, we're totally becoming, you know, going down this road where they're scaring us so much, you know, the government, they're scaring us so much that we're like, okay, you do whatever you want, keep us safe, you know, put the people in power that are going to work. You know, we know, you know, obviously the people don't know what's good for us, so suppress the Bernie Sanders stuff and suppress the anti-Hillary stuff, because you guys know best, right? And that's what it is. It's that big brother kind of aspect. Like, we know what's good for you. And it's so weird because then you have another party who you have some members preaching small government, but, you know, I mean, it doesn't always work that way. Oftentimes big government shrinks government. You know, the more taxes you have can actually, you know, increased taxes can actually shrink government, you know, and anti-monopolies, which in essence are, you know, controlling government, but also keeps government in check, you know? So, I mean, there's all these things that they try and spin, and, you know, I'll reiterate again, you know, you have all these pop culture things taking away our, you know, taking our interests instead of where our interests should lie, which is making sure we're well aware of what's going on, what the government's doing, what our rights are, and being fully, you know, fully aware of how important voting is, and getting out there and voting off election years, every year, every time, municipal as well. You know, local, you know, voting is just abysmally low, and you know, you don't get anyone out to the polls then. So I think that it's just important to keep, you know, onto these shows, telling people, hey, you gotta keep, if not optimistic, at least keep the faith or the passion of wanting to create something good for this world and for these people, you know, for everyone, you know, not just in this country, but when this country does something, it expands across the globe. And
we are the one that affects everybody else, and that's the problem there, is that we we need to fall in the right direction in order to make this work, folks. We have to. I just realized we had comments. Thank you to the people who are doing comment mod. I didn't even bother to check live production. I'm guessing that's a Nico and everybody else. I'm so distracted. I'm sorry, guys. I've been really distracted because I've really been trying to figure out what the hell we're doing here, right? I've got some other news articles we want to talk about, but when I started this in June of last year, I mean, we've had almost a complete change of personnel. I don't know how many people have been with us from the beginning since June or remember what we were doing way back then. I made a statement to everybody in June that, you know, things would definitely be more stable and all figured out by November, and that was when I needed to get a job. that was my it's like, you know, by November this will be a full operating nonprofit and we'll have everything figured out and we'll have staff and stuff going, and that hasn't happened. welcome to the reality of a political revolution, right? So you know, I've been lately, what I've been doing is trying to figure out what we're going to do to move forward, how we're going to move this stuff forward. And because of yesterday, I've kind of, things that needed to happen are going to happen. We created a channel called politicalrevolution.tv. It's a YouTube channel that will make accessible soon. And I'm going to move all of the newsrooms there. We're going to move other programs there like Disability TV. I can't even think what else. We're going to leave We the People and Bernie rallies on Bernie 2016 TV because that's what it's for. All right. And that way we can kind of separate out my crazy radical fighting nature here and other programs. We can put them on politicalrevolution.tv. That allows for us to monetize. It allows for us to work with other corporations in a different way, like LiveView. There are a lot of corporations that want to work with us. They support the idea of freedom of speech, and they can work better with us there. So we're going to do that. Kind of shift things. We'll cross promote between the two, but that's what I'll be working on so that we can keep Bernie 2016 TV a little more clean. Now, interestingly enough, Scott Galinda says won't make a difference because the association's already there, right? And that we don't want to promote violence. He's right. I don't want to promote violence, folks. I want to promote civil disobedience. Okay, and just for the record. Just for the record, I want to scroll down and show you what the definition of that is, and then we're going to look at some other news. But I'm right here, and so we're just going to do it anyway. Damn it! Give me 1 second.
And I would say that the maybe you could argue is artificial wall that we're putting up between the two, even though we're now associated with it, and so in that respect, I do agree with Scott. I also think it's important to at least have the wall, because if we at least start separating now, we're getting new fans every day. And so I still think it makes a difference to people coming in to the future. You know, let's say in 6 months, we're still doing this. We're getting even better production wise. People will start to forgive and forget, either or. They'll either, I really do. I mean, you'll realize, because everyone, at least in some respect, thinks, okay, yeah, this guy's passionate. Maybe I don't agree about how he's going about it. Well, that doesn't really stop me from watching the show on the channel that I love how they go about it, right? Knowing that they've just got different channels. To me, that's what I look for. I'm not looking for one channel with 8 guys with 5 different shows, and if I listen to one, I know what they're all saying. I want arguments, I want disagreements, I want different perspectives, and so I think it's great.
Oh, well, thanks, Sean. And I know, and you're helping me expand it, but guys, the problem is that what this was supposed to be is very difficult to make happen right now.
Yeah.
Right. Well, creating an actual nonprofit, finding people that can even be involved, reaching out for grants. It's like another one of the places that I'm very incongruent, that I'm very torn on, that I'm kind of marinating on is like, how much of that do I need to do right now? And how much of that is important for Bernie? Because I don't want to take away resources that be going for Bernie. So I'm trying to run this thing as lean, as thin, as without resources as possible, so that we're not relying on people. So that, you know, like the whole idea of the newsroom, and I told Sean this, I told everybody this, is like, I'm not creating a newsroom so John can have his own show and he can fucking yell and say whatever he wants. I'm creating the newsroom the way I'm doing it so that volunteers at Bernie 2016 TV do not feel obligated at all to be a part of the newsroom. Right? The whole goal was to say, I know that I'm here every fucking day. I got nowhere else to be. Right? So I know that I can do a news show. And I may have locked myself into something a little too big for my britches, but I've got help. This is why Sean's here. This is why other people are here. They come in when they can. That was the whole idea of this setup. But let's just talk about civil disobedience really quick. I want to be clear. I'm just going to read this part from the word civil. And this is from Wikipedia, and they're talking about basically 1848. Henry David Thoreau gave lectures at the Concord Lyceum entitled "The Rights and Duties of Individual in Relation to Government." We're talking about civil disobedience, but we're going to skip down to third paragraph. The word civil has several definitions. The one that is intended in this case, and the one that I intend, everybody, is relating to citizens and their interrelations with one another or with the state. And so civil disobedience means disobedience to the state. Sometimes people assume that civil in this case means observing accepted social forms, polite, which would make civil disobedience something like polite, orderly disobedience. No. Although that is an acceptable dictionary definition of the word civil, it is not what is intended here. It is not what I intend at all. When I use the word civil disobedience, I mean it to the full extent of disobedience with the state. Okay? That's what I mean. That is what I advocate. Disobedience with the state. Disrupt the state. That's what I advocate. I just wanted to make that. Gandhi practiced civil disobedience, but Gandhi practiced a very different version of it. And actually, I looked that up, and they reference it in here. And he called it, I'm going to destroy this name, Satyagraha. Satyagraha. Okay? This is what Gandhi called his version of civil disobedience. He said it was loosely translated, it's Sanskrit, comes from Sanskrit, loosely translated as insistence on truth. Okay? Satya, truth, agraha, insistence, or holding firmly to, or holding on to truth, or truth force, is a particular form of nonviolent resistance or civil resistance. That is what Gandhi practiced, to be absolutely clear. I just wanted to talk about that. So yeah, disrupt. Current state of play, disrupt. Okay. Again, my question to you guys is, what do we do? Like, what do we do about the censorship? What do we do about the digital censorship? That's really where we I was sitting there saying, we own the web, we own the net. What we put out there is what stays. That's how we control the media, is the net. Not anymore. Not anymore when the CEO can go, take that down. We've got a thing coming up for Hillary on Sunday. Don't want anybody seeing that shit.
I think one way to do it is, not everyone's a Bernie supporter, unfortunately. Everyone, and anyone that uses Twitter has a potential to be affected by this. If you're for Trump, who knows? They could stop a Trump hashtag, or they could stop, the Hillary hashtag. If you're a Hillary supporter, and maybe you think, oh, that's great that they quashed that anti-Hillary thing. But what about next year when you want when you're on the side of the person they're against, you don't get to help them decide. They get to just decide, and they're not for your best interests, even if your interests line up with theirs this election season. So I think it's important to let people know that, hey, you don't have to necessarily be agreeing with or disagreeing with what they're doing right now, but disagree with the principle of it, which is that they're saying one thing and then doing another. They act like they're hey, take a look, come on Twitter, see what the world's talking about. But then behind the scenes, they're manipulating it so that you think the world's talking about stuff they're not really talking about, or that they're not talking about things that they really are. So to me, I think that's where it begins, is to let people realize that it's not just this niche of people listening to this and talking here. It's anyone using Twitter. It's for their best interests to push Twitter. Twitter exists because we use it. So we can just as easily make it a fucking MySpace if we really wanted to, you know?
Well, but so that's a great point to make. But here's the thing. So somebody asked, there's a lot of comments going on. First of all, Kristen Cosgrove, I have that video and we're going to play it. Yes, that is civil disobedience. This is what we're talking about, folks. Okay. First, they did it with Witch Hillary. They literally shut down Witch Hillary. Then they did it with this, blocking the tracking of hashtag Bernie Sanders. When somebody says, I was trying to read comments. They were flying too fast. Somebody said, what do you mean we do own the net? No, folks. When you sign into Twitter, the free service Twitter, free, okay, you are agreeing that your intellectual property is theirs and they can do what the fuck they want. So the hashtag, they can do what the fuck they want. Yeah, well, we want to pull that down. We don't really have to keep it in there. If we wanted to be if we wanted to be a company of integrity and ethics and moral, we would leave it there. But because we have direct interest in how the government runs and we are paying to have Hillary elected, we are certainly going to do what we want with our own machine that we own and control. That is how Twitter functions.
Exactly.
That is how Google functions.
How Facebook functions.
That is how Facebook functions, although Facebook doesn't say anything. Facebook doesn't lie. Facebook says, look.
That's true. They're more out in the open about it. That's true.
Right. Facebook says, if you want your shit to be seen, you will be paying us money. Otherwise, your shit is not seen.
And if you put pictures on our site, we can use them however the hell we want.
Right. But everybody says that. Your agreement with Google, folks, Google is free, except they data mine everything about you. All of your ad, everywhere you go, everywhere you look, the ad data about you is massive. There was an article that I didn't share a while back about a company that had actually done tracking using ad data. They were able to figure out who caucused in a particular place by their cell phone data. They were able to figure out where these people were. They didn't have their names. They had their ad patterns, their shopping patterns from their cell phone data. And they were able to figure out who these people were. That's Google. That's AdWords. That's ad tracking. Okay. That's happening all the time, folks. I saw another site the other day. You can do it with cats. Cats in the neighborhood. Cat locators, just based off the RFID chips and cats, figure out who the hell you are, where your cat is. Basically, people post pictures on their cats. Oh, that's his cat. Now I know where you live. These are just simple examples, okay, of control and power. But right here, this is an example. This is no different than burning the book, hashtag Bernie Sanders. There was a book called hashtag Bernie Sanders. It has been burned. There was a book called Witch Hillary. It's been burned. Our government is burning books, your content, when it feels like it. That's oppression. That's censorship. That's Nazi-like censorship. What we've got going on. All right. So that's what I say. How do we combat that? What do we do to combat that? I want a way. Somebody else was saying in here that we have to create our own net. I agree. I don't know how we do that. I will say this. What I do is I can connect the big pieces together. I see how that big piece connects with that big piece. That's how I made this system, right? What I can't do is the detail work, the coding, right? I'm not some master coder. I'm not a hacker, right? But I could see if we had, I know the systems exist. I know how we can put them together. I need people to do the work. That's how this happened. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Anyway, let's, what do we do, folks? We need to do something because we're being, we are being censored. But I want to play I had it and now it's gone. Where the hell did it go? Here it is. Kristen Cosgrove, you mentioned the San Jose resistance. Here it is right here. We're playing this from Labor Video. I don't know if it's going to shut us down. Let's hope it doesn't. Labor Video, thank you very much. Bernie 2016 TV will be subscribing to you. And this is, here we go. This is Sanders supporters, including trade unionists, protest and speak out at 2016 CA Democratic Convention.
My name's Melody. I'm a teacher in Richmond, California.
And
I'm a member of the union, and my union did not support him, didn't take a vote on any of the members, but many of us are for Bernie. I believe everything he believes. I believe he's honest. He doesn't take money from anybody crooked. He wants to give everybody health care. He wants to give everybody education. He wants to give everybody equal rights. I think he's a great candidate, and I think he's going to win.
and what about the issue of charter schools and privatization? Are you concerned about that?
I'm extremely concerned. I teach in an inner city school, and my area, Richmond, California, has been targeted by charter schools. And I'd say we've lost about a quarter or more of our whole student population in the last few years. And the top kids go there. So we teach them how to read, we work really hard, and then they leave our schools and go to the charter schools. And then we get, different kids and
They're
take
called cherry picking, creaming.
Exactly, yes.
Bernie's best for the USA. Equal rights, jobs that pay. Bernie's best for the USA. Equal rights, jobs that pay. Bernie's best for the USA. Jobs that pay. Bernie's the best for the USA. Equal rights, jobs that pay. Bernie's the best for the USA. For the USA. Equal rights, jobs that pay. Bernie's the best for the USA. Equal rights, jobs that pay. Bernie's the best for the USA. Equal rights, jobs that pay.
I believe that he has for years been working for real people who are not rich, who really want to just live a good American life, and that he has the best understanding of what that will take to get us back to a fair system once again, where people can have a job that pays, where people can have real health care, where people don't go to prison all the time. This prison system is out of control. It has been for quite a while.
Because you guys have shut down security.
Those delegates should not vote against the people's interests. We are here in the people's
It's
interest.
America, honey. Everybody gets a shot.
Yes, we get a shot too. It's the people's interest. We are here on behalf of the people's interest. Those delegates cannot vote against the people. We are here to make sure those delegates do not vote against the people. We don't want to go into
We're shut down, ma'am. Nobody's going in right now because you guys are not going to allow us to do our jobs.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Where are you from?
Stockton, California.
And why are you supporting Sanders?
Because enough with establishment politics. Nothing gets done. Frustration up to here.
What's going on in Stockton as far as working people?
Low wages, inequality, you name it, it's there. No access to education, healthcare, everything that people need is not there. Not there, non-existent. All these people come here, they lock themselves up in their chambers. They don't care what's going on. They're still getting paid.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an educator.
What's your name?
Fred.
Are you in a union?
No, I'm actually in management, but I'm very pro-union. My father was able to sustain our family, was able to feed us because he was a teamster. I'm tired of the unions eroding in this country, the middle class going away, and the poor class being treated like serfs, slaves. No more, no more. We've had enough.
What's your name?
Gloria,
And why are you here today?
because I want to change. I'm here to support a political platform. This is not about Hillary. It's not about Bernie. It's about the working families of this country, and we have had enough.
I like that. That's civil disobedience, folks. That's the beginning of civil disobedience. Actually, is what that is. That's the beginning of it. Yeah, executive decision. The State Department is being invested by the FBI now. Hillary Clinton's being invested by the FBI. We can talk about that, but that was cool. Okay, Do you see what happened there? They're blocking the process. Now, that's right there. This right here is this close. Okay? Think about, I'm going to just, Kent State. Everybody remember Kent State. Okay? This right here is this close to something like that happening. Right? When the government sees too much of this and gets tired of it, when the establishment wants to push back against our marches and they send the National Guard out, that is when you will be faced with a very tough choice. So I just want to, maybe my job here is to prepare everybody for what's coming. That we all hope it goes unicorn rainbow Bernie style and we march in with love and peace. But based on the way the establishment has acted in the last 40 years, I'm not going to bet on it. I'm going to prepare myself for far worse. And maybe that's what I'm really trying to say, folks.
I think one of the interesting things to think about is like, how long do you wait for people to, wake up, basically? Like, we're not seeing higher turnouts than usual, or as high as we'd like or hoped so far. But, there's always tomorrow, and it only increases. The people are feeling more and more inspired to get involved every day, it seems. So, but it seems like, how long do we wait for, like, that ultimate goal of 100% voter turnout before we, the group of people that are, ready to take another step forward and trying to get our democracy back? When do you separate that? Do you wait another 10 years? Has it already been long enough? That's something I think that's interesting to contemplate.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's I'm reading some of the comments. More than 150 people joining us today. That protest was in San Jose, folks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some other news real quick, because I did load up a lot of news, and I don't want this to be just another rant session. Here we go. The FBI's investigation of Clinton's emails makes Bernie Sanders the true Democratic frontrunner. Yes, it does. Yes, it most certainly does. This is our good friend H.A. Goodman. Just pushed this article out this morning. Grab it in the list, share it with everybody, make sure they see it. I'm just going to read one little part. We're going to scroll down. You know how I like to find the one little part. This is what's beautiful right here. Something tells me that the words commander-in-chief and ongoing FBI investigation shouldn't be uttered in the same sentence. If you find it odd that America's top diplomat would need to circumvent government networks, then your viewpoint likely coincides with the 100 FBI agents currently working on the case. I just want to make the point that those of you who say Hillary Clinton has got the best presidential qualities to lead, then those presidential qualities must include being investigated by the FBI for not having the right security clearance in the first place, for putting a server in a dude's house in a basement or in the kitchen or in the bathroom, wherever the hell it was. I don't even know why she isn't disqualified for that, folks. Oh, well, all the State Department officials do. We all build a private server and we all hand it off to somebody else and stick it in a basement.
See, if that was Sanders, he would have been disqualified.
Exactly.
But since they're buddy, look the other way.
Absolutely, of course. Where is another thing here? Now I want to go back to Justice for Flint really quick, folks, and I want to talk about two sides of the coin here, because this really was. I just want to remind everybody, Justice for Flint. I don't know that Revolt TV. Here's the thing: that live video footage was unlisted. They blasted it out on Twitter yesterday and said it's a 24-hour loop, but it's unlisted. So I don't really know if they want it shared. I put the link in there just because I want everybody to know about it. But we should get in touch with Revolt TV on Twitter and just say, hey, guys, how can we help you? I can't remember the guy's name who was in charge of this thing. I had his name was like Ryan something or another. Whoever you are, man, awesome. Thank you for putting it together. For all the actors and actresses that took time and the creatives and the musicians and everybody that went down and that did that, kudos to you. Thank you for thinking about something that actually matters. The Oscars don't fucking matter. Sorry, don't give a shit about the Oscars this year. We actually do have bigger things to think about. And hey, Chris Rock, I just want to go to this thing. It's just a couple things here. Sean King and we've talked about Sean King before. Sean King had this to say. I guess they watched just Chris Rock's intro. And somewhere in here, I guess the bottom point in this, and not because I'm not African American, I really don't have a say in this whatsoever, but I'm just going to read you one of the lines. Knowing what's going on in the country today, folks, this is what they say, he took particular issue with Mr. Rock's joke that blacks didn't protest in 1962 or 1963 over the Oscars because they had real things to protest at the time. You know what? What you should be protesting right now is that the freedom you thought you had was never really given to you. And if you vote for Hillary Clinton, you are actually voting to oppress yourselves. I don't know what to tell you this time. You're doing it to yourselves. Okay.
Wait,
but hey,
so whose side are you on?
Right. And Chris Rock, are you really shilling for Hillary? It appears that the majority of the well-paid celebrities, and I just say majority because I know there's been certain individuals like this, Sarah Silverman, and I know there's been, Killer Mike is a celebrity, but most of the big Hollywood names seem to have gone for Hillary, right? And I think it really comes down to how much money do you have, right? How much money do you have, and how much money are you willing to lose, and what kind of integrity do you have as a person? So we already know where Morgan Freeman stands. Morgan, dude, you should be loaded. I don't know what it is with you trying to keep your paycheck, man. But what it comes down to for me is, in the end, I'm going to know everybody that voted for Hillary. I'm going to know who stood with the establishment, because to me, this is an election. This is a political revolution. And so if you're a establishment stooge or an establishment collaborator, you will be remembered as such when this is over. That doesn't mean that you're not included in the universe. We want everybody to belong. This is a belonging revolution too. It just means that I won't honor you by watching your films. I won't give a shit about you anymore. I will do what I can do as a consumer to make sure you don't get any of my money. That's all. That's what I can do in terms of power there, right?
So is Chris Rock is for Hillary out and out?
I don't know. I have no idea. I just think those statements were, here's what I'm trying to say about that, man. Mm-hmm. Anybody that actually, I realized there were a few people that at the Oscars had some nice things to say about Bernie Sanders. My understanding is there were some people that did some testimony for Bernie Sanders at the Oscars. Maybe you guys can tell me. I think the fact that they had the Oscars the way they did was kind of distasteful. I think
they had a couple presenters hint towards things by just saying, hey, let's go for politicians who aren't owned by corporations kind of things. No one out and out said anything, but yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe somebody made an actual Bernie pledge.
And as far as that HuffPo article goes, I think a lot of that was just that he was against some of the jokes Chris Rock was making.
Well, they seem very, to me, for Chris Rock to make those statements seemed like you're making light of the current situation, in particular the BLM situation right now.
So here's what I would say to that. I'd say he's a damn comedian and it's his job. I can't stand it when people hire a comedian to come and tell jokes and then say, oh, you can't tell that joke, and oh, you're being insensitive. I think you maybe you don't think he's funny, maybe you think he's wrong, and you might actually think those things, but you're treading weird ground when you start taking a comedian to task for what they do. I think it's a comedian's job to push those boundaries in society, and joke about weird things. I like Anthony Jeselnik as a comedian, and he's joking about dead babies, and he's joking about drug abuse.
Okay. I get it.
Everything can be funny if it's the right joke and the right timing, and it's not insensitive to a timeliness factor. There's lots of things that go into it, but I think he's kind of right in a way. It was they were being a lot, blacks were even more oppressed than they were now, and they still are.
I disagree.
No. Okay.
I disagree.
You don't think it's worse then?
I don't know. I'm not a black person, neither are you. So we really shouldn't even be having the conversation, honestly.
Okay.
Hey, black people, do you feel more or less oppressed? Listen, I guess this is what it's really. I get it. It's not a bad point. It's not a bad point if it weren't for the fact that this is a political revolution. If this were just another election year, if things weren't so fucked up in this country, if the income inequality wasn't so ridiculous, you bet, Sean. He's a comedian. He's making comedian jokes. Let him make fun of anything. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. You're right. But at this point, it's not right.
So would it have been
point,
okay if he was telling jokes that were pro revolution?
No. I guess what I'm saying. Let me explain. Where does Chris Rock stand? Does Chris Rock stand with the establishment? It does.
I don't think it matters.
It does matter. Here, let me tell you why it matters. Here's why it matters.
Okay.
It matters because of this, folks. We are in a political revolution. Okay, the rules have changed. What does Gil Scott-Heron say?
He's a comedian at the Oscars.
What does Gil Scott-Heron say? What are the words to Gil Scott-Heron's? The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not go better with Coke. The revolution will not be brought to you by Scope or Dr. Pepper. The revolution is not a fucking entertainment show. This is real, Sean.
Well, so your disagreement is with him not coming out. It's not with the jokes necessarily. It's for him not standing up and away from the establishment. But he became the establishment by agreeing to be a comic on the Oscars in the first place.
Sure. So maybe what I'm saying is, why are you even on the Oscars? Why are you even on the fucking Oscars? Where do you stand? Any black person today, in my personal opinion, I'm not black, but any black person today, one, that would vote for Hillary, two, that would work for the establishment, knowing exactly what's going on right now, is either ignorant or naive or really likes their fat paycheck. That's my statement.
It's probably the latter more than the former, but we don't know. Like you said, who knows? But I don't know. I think once you're there doing jokes for a crowd like the Oscar crowd, and not the crowd that's watching it, but the ones that are there, you've already become an establishment player in a certain way. And if he goes out there as a black comic, who I pay a lot of attention to comedy, so I know he's known for doing edgy jokes that are racially, tinged. If he goes out and does a whole bunch of friendly ass jokes that are pro-establishment, I don't see how that's better than him and pushing the envelope. Now, he didn't push the envelope in a way that you liked or that was anti-establishment enough for us to be for. I think the jokes were okay, but I think that, I don't know, I guess we're just running circles around the argument stuff. If he's going to be anti-establishment, he wouldn't be there in the first place. And I guess I'm looking at it like optimistically, thinking, oh, well, at least he was pushing the envelope where he could have just been safe and told a whole bunch of friendly jokes.
Maybe. First, he's shilling for the. First is for me. This is what we're drawing a line here, right? Bernie Sanders is redefining the people's movement. There's a new party being formed, right? And basically what we're saying is, you're either with the old party or you're with the new party, and you're with the old party, fuck you. That's what I say. Okay.
That's a good way to look at it.
All right. I'd love you to be a part of the new party, but if you're actually voting for the old party, you are voting seriously against the interests of the human beings on this planet. And that pisses me off. That offends me greatly. Right?
And the future of our country's ability to do anything about it. The more power, the longer they stay in power, the more they'll take away our rights. Right.
And I'm watching the conversation. This is what they're going on back and forth. People are talking about a whole bunch of different things because we're kind of going off on this topic. But I want to contrast. I want to contrast Chris Rock. Okay. And Chris Rock and his opportunity on that stage in front of Primetime. When I talk about hijacking Primetime, that's a great way. Okay. He could have hijacked that moment. And he could have blasted a message about Bernie Sanders, probably would have cut off the feed. They would have hauled him off, canceled the Oscars. But what a message. That's civil disobedience. Okay? Instead of taking a paycheck and shilling. Okay. And what I want to contrast, hey, Chris Rock, the guy last night, whose name I'm not going to remember, Ryan, I want to say it's Ryan Coogler, who did the Flint for Justice. Okay, that's civil disobedience. That was Oscar worthy. Okay, hand your fucking Oscar to that guy. Okay, and I just want to contrast your statement about a comedian and mention Jesse Owens, who did this after winning the fucking Olympics. okay, over in fucking Nazi Germany as a black dude in the 30s, that is making a statement. That is civil fucking disobedience. That is using your moment of prime time to make a statement. And that is what any celebrity that has an opportunity to be in the spotlight, who actually has balls and integrity and courage and believes in this country and Bernie Sanders, that is what you should use your status for.
Well, he certainly could have. Yeah,
what?
That's true. So he certainly could have. I believe he's done it before, and he probably wants to do it again. So, you know, yeah. So we agree at least that he's an establishment show.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah. It seems pretty apparent. I mean, if you're doing the, you know, Oscars, and like you said, you're not taking that moment. He could have said something. He might have gotten in trouble. They probably would have let him back on. If they didn't, who cares? He could have came out and said, yeah, look, I said what, you know, everyone, you know, what I wanted to say. And look, they're you know, not going to have me back on because, you know, they're trying to, you know, change the conversation. So he could have, but, you know, yeah.
So, all right, we'll move on. We'll move on, folks. I'm looking at everybody in the chat. That's it. I just wanted to say there's a dividing line here. You got it's people versus establishment. I saw somebody come through. It may have been a troll. Somebody said, "Why am I so butthurt over jokes?" I'm not butthurt over jokes. I explained very exactly what I was talking about there. If you are for Bernie, if you really are about changing this country, if you really are about changing the system, and you recognize just how bad it is, use your status. Use what you have. Right? Don't hide behind it. Don't keep making a paycheck. Let's move on to some other news, because Bernie Sanders isn't worried. You guys I gotta tell you, so talking about tomorrow, Super Tuesday, I will do a streamathon. Janine has been telling me some information in Slack saying that stuff going on around her. So she's in Rhode Island, right? She's near New Hampshire and Massachusetts, all those. She says it is absolutely insane. There are things happening on the ground there she cannot believe for Bernie Sanders. I think we're going to see a ridiculous turnout tomorrow. I know we are going to see a ridiculous turnout tomorrow. I think the pundits are going to be shocked. I know establishment media is going to probably try to block this out because of the turnout tomorrow. 10,000 people showed up in Texas yesterday, folks. 10,000 people at one rally. This is why I get so angry at how we need to fight the digital war, because we know the force of the people. Do you think if we could get established media to broadcast these rallies, I mean, how fast could we convert the rest of America if Bernie were being given equal airtime? We would have had America swept and done by Christmas if he'd been given equal airtime, right? That's what I'm trying to do, folks. I saw a lot of comments. I saw a lot of people make comments about and I am trying to read your comments here, and I saw a lot of people make comments about phone banking. But what else? What else did I see? Shit. It was about tomorrow. I'll get back to it. It's important. It's important. I know. Okay, listen. I know I said the same about South Carolina. South Carolina was a massive failure for one major reason. 12%. Okay. 12% of the Democratic voters decided to show up to vote. Bernie said at the very beginning, if you don't show up to vote, we're done. We lose. End. Okay. If we can't get people to show up to vote, and in South Carolina, 12% of the voting Democratic populace decided to show up to vote. We're not going to win with 12%. Not going to win. Okay. But if you look at the other states, even the pundits already show Bernie Sanders strong in 5 of the 11 states. So it looks pretty good for him to carry 5 of the 11. I want him to carry 6 of the 11, 7 of the 11, right? But Bernie's looking strong as shit in 5 of the 11 Super Tuesday states. Now, they're starting to lay bullshit down about Massachusetts. But Bernie had a 6-point lead in Massachusetts, and then another poll came out and said he didn't. Whatever. Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Janine said a note yesterday. She said there's no way, in her opinion, that Bernie will lose Massachusetts. No effing way. Actually, I should probably check live production just to make sure she hasn't said anything to contradict that. But yeah, 7-Eleven for Bernie. I think it could happen. I really do. So listen, we will be doing a streamathon, but apparently Sean, do you know the details about the results? My understanding is the results coming in very late. Like Colorado doesn't even have shit. My dad's going to caucus in Colorado, and he says not till like 7 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night or something.
I'm not aware of specific times, but I do know that they vary. So it's not like they're all coming in at once. But yeah, I'm not sure beyond that. But something we can easily check, and we'll have it all ready and have updates for you during our streamathon that I'm assuming we'll have.
Yeah, we're gonna do a streamathon tomorrow. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at a message here from. What is it? You got to be kidding me! What does it say, Kristen? CNN and MSNBC have announced that Hill as the nominee, and that more people think she's more electable. What? They're already making that announcement. They're already just early because they're showing that ridiculous delegate count, right? Look at pledged delegates. How many pledged delegates? Can somebody find me a meme that shows pledged delegates, that shows reality, please? And then let's get the total number of delegates, what's like 200 plus that are up for grabs on Super Tuesday. And let's break it down, what the 5 states that Bernie is going to win, how many delegates those are, all right? Because people don't, this is a long game, folks. People don't understand this. This, again, we are fighting mainstream media, establishment media bullshit. We are fighting the bullshit. We are absolutely fighting the bullshit. It's ridiculous.
So yeah, John,
good news. What's up?
I'm looking at the times for tomorrow, and yeah, that's certainly true. Most of them are early to late all day, and then but Colorado's appears to start at 7 p.m., which it's the only one that starts that late from what I'm seeing. They just decided, Vermont too. Vermont also decided to just have it late. But most of them, like Virginia, 6 a.m. to 7, Georgia, 7 a.m. to 7, and then just 2 states have later. So they will, Vermont and Denver, or
okay.
Colorado.
All right. So my understanding, so people are asking about, thank you for that. Sounds like we got a long tomorrow.
Yeah.
People are asking about what we're doing. Streams today. I know there's one somewhere. I don't know if I have a local feed for it or if I have any kind of feed for it. So I will let you guys know. All right. I need to check in with the team. Tomorrow, Bernie Sanders is going to be in Vermont. They did an announcement. I don't know where he is today, but they did put a shot of things saying that he was they did. So he's going to be in Vermont tomorrow for a Super Tuesday watch party. I don't know what kind of stream we're going to have, what's going to go on. I really don't know. Hopefully we'll get something, right? And we'll, whatever it is, we'll broadcast it. Whatever we can find, we'll broadcast. I'll figure out something for a streamathon. I just got to figure out how we're going to go on for that long, because that cuts really into late night, and maybe have to quit, go eat dinner, come back or something. I don't know. The problem really is having somebody to fill this space just for a bit, or having some long videos to run. So maybe we can post some long video and run some stuff together and just hang out and chat and talk about that. But yeah, I'm more than willing to do that. Let's just cover a couple more articles really quick, because we're coming up on the end of the show. This is U.S. Uncut. I think I referenced it yesterday. It's in the drop down, folks, but you should really grab it because it covers a lot of the information about how Bill and Hillary basically built their legacy on white supremacy. Right? Bill had no problem with the Confederate flag hanging out. Matter of fact, he signed a bill to that effect. He condemned this guy to death. That was really interesting. This was my favorite fun fact from Bill. Okay. Federal funding for public housing fell $17 billion, a 61% reduction under Bill Clinton's tenure. Federal funding for corrections rose $19 billion. Hey, there's a flop of some money. When Bernie talks about the exchange of money going into the wrong place, right there, we just took $17 billion out of housing and put $19 billion into prisons. Right? Isn't that nice? Yeah. Isn't that nice? What else? Oh, this was great. So this I can't see the whole thing. This one was a great story. So Bill signed this thing back in the 90s, 96, called the PRWORA, and it was some healthcare thing. And they had some black woman on there who was the token black woman with this healthcare. Yeah, well, she ended up in debt, couldn't pay it off. It didn't work. She got rejected for the very bill the bill signed because it was a piece of bullshit legislation. Right? There's a lot of good stuff in there. You guys should read it. You should send it to people who are Hillary fans. You should send it to them. Get them to read the truth. African Americans in particular. Here's another one I wanted to cover. This is also on the list. So back, this is Hillary Clinton, who took money from the Arab and Muslim American Association. All right. Down here we talk about blood money. So she took $50,000 in political contributions from the American Muslim Alliance, and somebody blasted her for it. But now that we're all trying to be friendly, she's okay again with it. So back then, she took money from the Muslims, and she was like, "Oh, get rid of that. We're going into Iraq in 2001, and we can't have money from that. God, you can't have that money here." But today, oh, come here. I love you. Give me your money. Right? Make up your mind. Have some integrity. Okay, something cool that has disappeared that I wanted to show you was that Eddie, one of our volunteers, has created a very cool system that is going to give us updates for Super Tuesday. He's going to give us updates from Reddit. He's going to plug them in. We're going to have better updates that you can get than you're going to get from the establishment. We don't have CNN's fancy, stupid news board. We got Eddie and his spreadsheets. So we're going to look at those tomorrow. It's going to be cool. Wait, more about Hillary. We're getting into the Hillary bashing. I know I'm going through these really fast, but let's just look at this. Demand that Hillary dump Monsanto's lobbyists. Here's another one. So in 2014, Hillary Clinton received $335,000 speaking fee for giving a keynote address to one of Monsanto's main GMO lobbying front groups. While on the campaign in 2007, Hillary Clinton held a fundraiser at Monsanto's law firm in Washington, D.C. Now, you know what this was about, folks? This was all about the growing worry that farmers didn't want to use GMO shit anymore. And so she was all out there to make sure they understood that it was okay and that we're gonna push GMO and we're gonna make sure they buy your shit. I'm sure she's changed her mind on that. And then to go along with that, here's what happens when people don't want GMO anymore. U.S. Mo's option is sugar refiners face supply crunch because they don't want to use GMO. They don't want Monsanto sugar. Right? This is what happens when you flip-flop. I just had to cover those. I had to cover those. We're at 10:20. We're almost out of here. As far as things today, there's got to be a stream somewhere. We'll bring it to you. If not, just me tomorrow, 9 o'clock, the newsroom. Super Tuesday, we're going to do a streamathon. We're going to have fun. And I don't know, we'll discuss more about what we should do in terms of civil disobedience. I saw some people talking about reaching out to Anonymous in various ways. Please do. Please reach out to Anonymous. Please reach out to Occupy, anybody that would be interested in working with me. I guess what I offer is I got a pretty good idea for how to put these things together. I've already got a broadcast system here. I'm willing to take the fall because I really don't have anything. The wife is separate and safe. All right. We're not legally married. Our finances are separate. I've got like no credit. I've got nothing. So I'm okay. I'm okay with doing my part of civil disobedience and taking the blame for hacking a network primetime stream. All right. So let's figure out how we can beat them at the digital game. If they're going to censor our voice, let's amplify what we can. Let's place our voice in their network. Okay. I want to do some real covert work. Okay? I think it's necessary. That's the kind of activist I am. All right. I absolutely agree with everything else that needs to be done for the revolution, everything that Bernie Sanders wants to do. Somebody asked earlier, John, am I associated with the official Bernie campaign? Hell no. They wouldn't touch us. They wouldn't come near us. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that way back when I started this, I was very naive in thinking that maybe they'd just come on by and say, oh yeah, thank you for creating this volunteer network. We'd love to work with you. Matter of fact, we'll support it. No. No matter what we would have done with this network, no matter how clean I would have kept it, how pretty I would have kept it, the word we received very indirectly was that the campaign has to work with everybody as grassroots elements. They've hired specific contractors, of course, and those contractors are made public, but they had to vet those contractors very carefully, right? Because anything that can be used against the campaign will be used against the campaign by establishment media. So any connection to this entity, no matter what people think of it, right? You could think of this as the best thing ever created. You could think of this as an offensive entity that needs to go away fast. Either way, it's a liability to the Sanders campaign. So there is no connection whatsoever. Does that mean, so, but in that same vein, once Bernie is elected, do I want to work for Bernie Sanders? Hell yeah. Do I want to create the Global Engagement Network? Do I want to bring forth engagement broadcasting and remove old establishment one-way broadcasting from the world? Yeah, absolutely. Do I want to compete directly with bullshit news and bring real news? Yes. Right. But the purpose here is to get Bernie Sanders elected. Right. That's why we exist. And remember, folks, I created this a long back because Bernie was getting no coverage whatsoever. Still doesn't really get any coverage. And we've learned quickly just how censored we are. People talking about YouTube. We don't own YouTube, and YouTube can do whatever they want. YouTube can shut down our content whenever they want, whenever they please, without explanation. Really, that's in the terms of service. So anyway, let's talk about a lot of stuff. Sean, do you want to comment on that? Anything?
Well, I was going to say one important but very, very sad thing to report on was the passing of Bernie Baby.
Was that confirmed? Because there was people saying that there was, okay. That was confirmed?
I have no idea. So maybe it is. Oh, hopefully if that's some sort of joke, well, I don't know how funny that is.
There was mention, I don't know that it's a joke, but there was mention of the fact that it might be some kind of a money scam because there was a GoFundMe campaign and people weren't sure. I don't know. If it's true, it's horrifically sad. Yes.
Yes, and our thoughts go out, and yeah, of course. So hopefully,
just be wary, folks. There's a lot of these scams.
I'll go out and say hopefully it's a scam. And
yeah,
no. But sudden infant death syndrome is a leading cause of young children, so it is a very real and serious problem. So
it is.
I'll just say that.
Oh no, here's the news. Okay, and Nico just dropped a thing in, so she's saying it's legit.
Yeah, they were just shouting out in Slack to mention the story, and I hadn't heard it. So
right, I'm being told Bernie's on right now. If anybody wants to find me a local stream, I'm happy to go live for it. Robin Morris, is that what you got here? No. And oftentimes, oh, I see. He's got it in here. So yeah, Bernie is live now, folks, but I don't have a local stream. I don't have something I can use. That's part of the problem. Just on that note, guys, there's actually ways that I could grab it, but part of the problem has been I want to keep it on YouTube for the convenience of it being there for people to find it. But that's where we get shut down all the time. Been working with some people on just embedding it and delivering it to our own website. But I need the chat functionality to exist. And if the chat functionality is going to exist, then people need to be able to access the chat quickly and easily. And so that's all part of the problem. So we're working on that stuff. There's a lot of other people talking about things we could do. Email me at info@bernie2016.tv. Let's talk about it. I got a bunch of emails that came in from a bunch of people the last few days. I'm going to get back to those today. I promise. I really do. I will see you later today if we do have a stream, other than the one that's going on right now with Bernie. And what do we got saying? I got it. What is this with the John? I have to see this drum. Not Trump. John Oliver must have done some funny bit last night that I didn't see, and everybody's talking about it. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, well, thanks for having me. And don't forget that anyone out there that's looking for our podcast, we're doing really more popular episodes and events will be on our SoundCloud page now at soundcloud.com/Bernie2016TV. So you can go there and download stuff and give a listen there and comment and let us know how we're doing and what else you would like to see.
All right, there you go. All right, so yeah, and guys, it looks like there's a link that's been dropped. Sean, make sure you grab that. It's a link in you were talking. I'm sorry, I was looking at this like the SoundCloud thing. We got to get that moving big time. You were talking about that. Yeah. We're gonna get more on that. We're gonna get stuff going on that. Sean's running that. Sorry, I'm totally just like totally. That people dropped a link for Bernie Live. Right. So there's a link for Bernie Live on a YouTube channel, guys, and they've got chat going. I'm not gonna bother to grab it and repush. So just go ahead and hang out there with the Sanders ticket. He's running that ABC News, and he's got it set up in a way so that he's not, hopefully he won't get nailed. I will tell you this, the reason that I don't try that kind of shit, folks, the reason I don't do that and try to put it in a smaller frame and all that crap is because we generate so much activity, no matter what we do, that we get hit. The difference is in how much activity we generate, right? How many people show up live. There's signals, there's things that get flagged in that, and that's why we get nailed. Okay, so I can't risk it, but go hang out with this guy and watch this. It's great. Thanks for bringing this, the Sanders ticket. And I'm just reading some comments, folks. I don't know how close you guys are asking about Massachusetts. We'll find out. We'll find out. Oh, nice. All right, so I'm looking at some other stream links. So you guys are talking to me right now. I'll see if I can run it. I'll run it. Otherwise, do what the Sanders camp says to do. Go to BernieSanders.com. Log in there. Everything you need is there at BernieSanders.com. There's connect.BernieSanders.com. There's BernieSanders.com/donate. Okay, /phone bank. There's all of these things to do. The boots on the ground effort or phone effort is super important. Right. So keep that going, folks. If you're interested in working with me on more digital disruption, hit me at info@Bernie2016.tv. My goal is to hijack Primetime so we can deliver a big message to the people and do some real civil disobedience in the digital age. That's what I want to do. So help me with that. Remember, folks, that you can't hear me? No? No, you can hear me. Go in there. I love reading the comments like, John, we can't hear you. What? When? This happened. Yes, phone bank in Massachusetts today. Maybe if we don't have everything going, we'll do a phone bank-a-thon or something. I don't know. I got to find out what's going on, folks. I have to leave the tube. I have to leave the TARDIS and go find out what's happening in the real world in the house. Right here is the political revolution. So, yeah. Anyway. I will do a live phone banking show if you think it'll motivate. I'm more than happy to do that. If you think it would motivate people to do so, I would. Rand Love 420. Hey, I just harvested, by the way. That's one of the reasons I got to get to work on that. All right, guys, we're going out with end of the corporate age because it is the end of the corporate age. I want to thank you all for being here and for growing with me, for exploring what the hell we're doing here. I mean, this is a political revolution, but it's a new one. It's a political revolution in a digital age. That's never happened. And so we have different adversaries, different enemies, different tools and weapons to use. And we have to fight in a different way. And we're fighting not just for Bernie Sanders, we're fighting to save the planet. Everybody needs to remember that. When it comes down to an argument with some Hillary supporter about guns or about foreign policy, wanted to say, hey, dying planet, just bring them back to the point, folks. Say, Hillary's under investigation by the FBI, dying planet. What do you think is going to get done? Right? Everybody keeps talking about Warren. She wrote a pro-Bernie article, which I heard people say. Do it, John. Please show these people how easy it is. Okay, we'll do a phone bankathon. We will do a phone bankathon. I really usually need Janine for that. We'll see if she's around, but we'll try to do it anyway. So thank you guys for being with me. We'll be here tomorrow. I am going to move everything over, but I can't move it over to politicalrevolution.tv until I have graphics and all that stuff, and that means a conversation with Steph. And thank you, Sean, for being here and always helping out and doing things. Sean does so many things, just like all the rest of the volunteers. Guys, that's one of the reasons why I'm so frustrated. I got to figure out a way to make this sustainable, not just for me, but for all of us, right? We can't just keep doing this here the way we are. We got to figure out a way to keep it going for the revolution and grow it for the people. And so I'm open to ideas. My hoping that Elon Musk drops by with a big check hasn't happened yet, but it could. I'm not gonna discount the possibility. What?
And Hanauer.
Oh, and Hanauer. Yeah. So they need to split it.
Yeah, sure. We'll take it.
Yeah, that's what I want. All right, guys, here you go. End of the corporate age. Thank you for being with us today. I'll probably see you guys later if I'm doing some kind of phone banky thing. And hey, we got through this whole thing without truly saying anything violent. I didn't get too mad. That's wonderful. I've been working on that. Yeah, I spent all day yesterday at a different house in a different place, just thinking about what's going on here. And it really helps me remember that we still have to bring it home. We still have to accomplish the goal. Doesn't take away the anger, doesn't take away the passion. Okay? We just need to stay on point with the goal. Stay on point with the goal. All right. And figure out the best way to do that together. So thank you for being with us. Feel the burn, everybody. End of the corporate age.
The wealthiest people of this country have seen a tremendous increase in their income, while at the same time, the standard of living of working people and poor people has declined. CEOs make more than 500 times of what their workers make. The middle class is shrinking. Poverty is increasing, while at the same time, the people on top are doing phenomenally well.
People always tell me, man, you're wasting your time. Can't you see the monolith is immobile? Yes, I tell them kindly, still I've made up my mind. 'Cause the sky above's as big and limitless as it ever was. Gather round, people, in the town square. It's the end of the corporate age. There's a new caveat at the center beware. This is the end of the corporate age. There's no quick and easy remedy that won't end in more calamity.
This is a fantastic time. From my standpoint, this is the best time that I've ever had.
All the bloviators keep on spreading the meme that there's only so much room at the table, telling us we're lucky to be eating the scraps, but we've got all the facts and we're taking our places back.
Billionaires shouldn't be allowed to hide in the shadows. Make them step out in the open where the American people can see.
Gather round, people, in the town square. It's the end of the corporate age. There's a new caveat at the center beware. This is the end of the corporate age.
We are well on our way to seeing our great country move toward an oligarchic form of government.
There's no quick and easy remedy that won't end in more calamity.
Corporate America, Wall Street, the major campaign donors are so powerful that no president can take them on unless tens of millions of people say, guess what, Washington? You are going to start representing the needs of working families and the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Huge